As much as I knew when I was younger about forgiveness and that I should forgive and I should be forgiving, I should let things go, and then indeed even reconcile, it takes a while for that to absorb and to really happen. And really it wasn't until the last, about 20 years, maybe 15 years, that I started to notice that in my own life that there were certain people who had done some things to me that I perceived as hurts in various ways. And I began to realize that in one way or another, it kind of resolved itself. How serious it is in one way, these matters are, where there's truly people hurt, and in other ways where they're kind of small things, really. And maybe we're not even sure that we should have this grudge against someone else because we're not even sure what they were trying to do. And I noticed that as I looked at many things over my lifetime, many people who I perceived as having hurt me, and especially in the last about 15 years, they did something that was a way of their perception of getting back at me for something maybe, or just simply the way they treated me in some way. I started to notice that if they were truly the kind of, mean people that I perceive them to be, they may have to pay for what they do. They're going to get hurt. They're going to have something happen to them because of the way they treat people. So I was able to see in many of these cases that as much as I was still kind of holding on to and feeling some hurt from another person and wondering if there's something I could do about it, sometimes it's not possible to reconcile with someone, to talk to them about it, but other times it could be that we just let them know that I felt hurt like this, and maybe if you keep acting like this, it'll be something that winds up hurting you, and you in some way will pay for these kinds of deeds that are mean in some way or another. And me too, and I noticed it myself, where I was wrong, and I didn't do anything to reconcile and so on, and I continued some behaviors that I had. Other people might have a grudge against me over that, and then I paid for it later because of my own behavior and not learning from it. And that's where I have found that I just have to let go. I can, and I've learned that the way that this can work for us, especially from our Lord Jesus, as we learn what he says to us about letting these things go, being forgiving, and that forgiveness is something that we should just constantly do, then we will ourselves find that God will take care of it. It's kind of an ultimate let go and let God, let life, let God's providence and other things happen. So let these things happen the way they do, and maybe all these things that happen in a negative way can turn out to be blessings in the end. Sins can become a way to grow in virtue.